Origin: Spirits of the Past is a Japanese sci-fi fantasy animated feature. It's set in a future where the Earth's forest has been mutated and has overpowered mankind. The forest's power is dictated by a tribe of druids who decide where water is supplied to. The story itself focuses on a boy called Agito, who lives in Neutral City, a quaint society built by his father and his friends' fathers. One day, Agito finds Tula, a girl from the past that has been frozen in a cryogenic machine for many centuries. Agito introduces Tula to his proud home and hopes she will stay. Unfortunately, Tula misses the past and turns to a soldier called Shunak, who is also from the past. Shunak promises Tula that he can restore the future back to the way it was in the past, with her help. Meanwhile, Agito has become enhanced by the forest's power. He uses his newfound spiritual gift to take on Shunak and rescue Tula.
Okay, so I have mixed views on this movie. While I do believe that it's a very imaginative film with creative environments and clever concepts, I also think that it's a film that doesn't have enough focus on its character development. It's unfortunate because I really wanted to connect to this film, but it lacks the character depth needed for me to be emotionally engaged to it. However, I don't think that the film lacks substance. It's a very deep and passionate movie that's almost ironic in its execution. For example, the idea of having water as a currency in the future is genius. I can actually imagine this being possible. If the climate changes into a poor state due to pollution, drought, or a natural disaster one day, then maybe water will become like money in this world, adding further value to its importance in human survival. This is a believable concept to me. Also, the idea of the forest being a violent being that's a hazard to humans is accomplished satire soaked in delicious irony. I mean, a future where trees are the danger against man rather than the other way round is thought-provoking and wonderfully metaphorical. Compliments aside, okay, let me explain why I have a problem with the characters. You see, the film tries very hard to glorify Neutral City as a charming, lovely society, but it feels like not enough time is spent there getting to know its townspeople. So I couldn't fall in love with its charm. I didn't know the people there. Now, some of you may argue that the film is more about Tula learning to forget the past and appreciate the future. But how can I want Tula to love Neutral City when I don't feel any emotional connection to it myself? Why is it worth living there despite the danger of the forest? That's the problem with this movie to me. It doesn't have the patience to focus on its characters, their homes, or their relationships with each other. The focus is on action set pieces and aggressive conflicts. Sure, these battles and confrontations with danger are very exciting to watch, but I don't know enough about the characters to be concerned enough for their safety. Okay, how about this then? Let's narrow down my thoughts by looking through some of the characters one by one. That'll help me explain things. Let's start with Agito. When we first meet Agito, we learn that he's sweet, goofy, and has a father that's being consumed by the forest energy as he slowly turns into a tree. That's as much as we learn about him. We don't get to see how he lives, what his interests are, or what makes him happy or sad. Yes, I know he's agile and tough, but that doesn't define his deepest interests or feelings, which are the core of his character. I like that he has big dreams of creating his own town one day, but I want to know what drives or motivates him right now. I want to know his hobbies. I want to know what makes him tick. I want to see him living his life in this unusual world. This kind of development can help an audience member like myself connect to the character on screen. Character development doesn't even have to be complex to come across as entertaining. Just a tiny bit of fleshing out, change, or progression throughout the story can be enough to make a character a little interesting. After Agito develops super strength thanks to the forest, he becomes even less interesting as we see him handle his new powers with ease. I find it dull when magical or superpowered characters can automatically adjust themselves to their new gift. I like to see them go through hard work and difficulty in order to take advantage of their powers. Sure, he does sometimes suffer from the consequences of the enhancement because he is slowly turning into a tree, but these bodily mutations are more of a minor nuisance than a major conflict. To me, there's not enough drama or tension in the moments where he grows roots or branches, because they fly by after minutes or less. The film focuses more on moments where he looks cool or awesome with his new powers, which is a shallow creative decision. However, when Agito finally turns into a tree, the drama and tension rises. We get a very powerful and abstract sequence that is perhaps the most emotionally charged scene in the film. It's a great climax to the movie, but it would have been far more effective if I had an actual connection with the character himself. Tula is a polite, brave, and confident girl, but she's also gullible and vulnerable. So, yeah, she's a decent character, but something major is missing from her. Her past. The whole film is driven by her motive to restore the past to the future, but the film never shows anything about her past, so why should I care? I already hardly know anything about Neutral City, and I know even less about her past, so why should I be bothered about where she ends up living? I can't compare which is better. Yes, we do find out that her father was responsible for the forest mutation, but I want to know things that are going to help me connect to the character, help me understand the character. What was her relationship like with her father? What was life like in the past for her? I just want some character development. Who is Tula? In addition, I find her relationship with Agito to be slightly contrived. She's just woken up to a new world, yet seems to feel close to Agito after almost a day, even going as far as saying that she really likes him. There's not enough bonding between them both going on to make me feel like they're genuinely good friends at any point. Friendship takes time to develop and can be even more difficult when living in a new environment. Shunak is perhaps one of the dullest animated villains I've ever seen. I'm serious, he's bland, has an emotionless voice, and everything that we learn about him is discovered through forced spoken exposition at the end of the movie. There's just not enough life or personality in him. A villain needs to be exciting and interesting to be engaging, but it also helps that we learn about their motives or backstory gradually throughout the narrative. Now, visually, the film is freaking gorgeous to look at. The animation and effects are stunningly fluid and vibrantly attractive. The environments are fantastically designed as an eclectic combination of lush terrains, old ruins, and forgotten technology. These backgrounds aren't distracting though, they're playgrounds for our characters to explore, so they have an important value in the story. The movie looks colourful and beautiful. You can tell that a heavy amount of effort was put into the concept art stage. With the exception of Robert McCollum as Shunak, who gives a mundane delivery to the character, the Funimation dub for this movie is pretty decent, with some emotive and strong performances put into many roles. It's not exactly outstanding, but it's also not terrible. It's good. The music score is phenomenal. It's a great mix of ethnic tribal tracks, new age ambience, and versatile orchestral pieces. These choices of music styles suit the tone of the film, and each piece is composed with a delicate passion. To conclude, I do think that this is a good anime movie, but my problems with the characters' personalities, backstories, or motives weakened its impression on me. The film tries hard to glorify Neutral City, yet we aren't given enough time or material to really appreciate it ourselves. We also don't get to know enough about the state of the past to help us contrast it with the future. Putting those problems aside, I do believe that it's a visual treat that's a delight for the eyes and the ears. The story also has some exciting moments too, plus it does a decent job at generating an environmental message. I really wish that the narrative calmed down at times though, so that I could get to know these characters and their lives without forced or rushed exposition. I give it 3.5 wooden stars out of 5.